Hello there, Scorpio. Thank you so much for stopping by for your weekly tarot video forecast for the week of April 15th through the 21st. I have already cleared your cards, and I'm just putting the final shuffle on them before I put them down. And actually, let me silence my phone while I'm thinking about it too. Okay, so let's get a shuffle on here. This is a general reading, and so this reading, not everything that I see here will apply to every single Scorpio who watches the video. What resonates with you, I think, is what you can usually take with you. If you would like to have a more specific reading, then feel free to contact me and we can set up one where I can look straight up at just your energies without looking at energies of everybody else who happens to be a Scorpio who watches this video. You can find my contact information and all my reading information. Also, I offer reiki sessions. You can find all that information also on my website, which is www.amista.info. My contact information is there as well. We have cards that are trying to flip out and fall out, so I think we're just about done shuffling. It's time to start putting some stuff on the table and see what comes up for us. We are looking at the major themes for particular areas of our life this week, fellow Scorpios. La da 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 da. Interesting stuff coming up here, I can tell you just at first glance. Let's start walking through this. The first thing that I have showing Scorpios is our environment, something going on in our environment. Now, our environment is any place where we have energy or effort invested. A lot of times it shows up as home, but it could easily show up as work or school, etc. as well. So keep an open mind where this environment might be that I'm looking at for you. It looks like in our environment, we are interacting with somebody who is very emotional, just emotionally kind of all over the place. This person may be having outbursts, sort of throwing fits, and then being calm is what I'm feeling like. It feels like things can be very up and down with this person emotionally that we're sharing an environment with, whether that's a coworker or a family member, whatever that is. That seems like that's a little challenging, actually. The next thing that I'm looking at is our subconscious leanings, fellow Scorpios. And what I have coming up here is that we are going to be really working on our responsibilities and what responsibilities we want to take on, what responsibilities we don't want to take on, what kinds of things we're expecting in return for the responsibilities that we are doing. So responsibilities is playing big on our subconscious mind, wondering how much of how many different responsibilities we can take on in a reasonable fashion. In a reasonable fashion. Okay, so trying to make sure that basically our subconscious, we're trying to make sure that we're not overdoing it, and yet realizing there are responsibilities that we would like to pick up. There are things that we would like to start taking care of or expand taking care of more. Okay, the next thing that I'm looking at for us Scorpios is our learning style and our communication style, especially as we're going into this week, just the main themes. Learning style, excuse me for that. Learning style has to do with really how we can keep everything balanced. And so we're paying attention to what works and what doesn't work as far as keeping things balanced for the week. And so there's a lot about balancing between work time, balancing between personal time, balancing between family time, so trying to keep everything in balance so that we can feel like sane, happy people. All right. So we're learning, we're coping, we're learning some coping mechanisms there, learning how to do that. That's the main theme for our learning style this week. Next, we're looking at communication style for the week. It looks to me like we have times during the week where we're not saying much. Maybe the people that we normally would talk to or share with are not around or easy to talk to at the moment. And then we also have times, during the beginning and more towards the end of the week where there's a lot of communication and really good, solid communication going back and forth between ourselves and other people in our sphere of influence. Some of the things that we may be talking about may be actually pretty tumultuous, but it seems like they're being talked about in a logical, level-headed type of way, very productive type of way. Okay? So that's learning style and communication style for the week for us Scorpios. Next, what we're looking at is work. Work for Scorpios. Now, if you guys have been watching me a while, you know I'm strange about work because I see work as that thing that we do to make a living. And I also see work as that thing that we do to improve our own character and make ourselves happier with each other. We're looking at outer work first, and I am seeing that there's a lot of reflection and a lot of evaluation, and there's a lot of emotion that has to do with our outer work, Scorpios. So our work may be something that lends itself to becoming emotionally involved with it. And if not, we may be on a particular project that lends itself more to that than others do. But I do see that we're very emotionally involved with our work this week. And the other thing that's coming up as far as the work, how we make money, I feel like we're also very reflective this week about work. We're really thinking about work and what we can do to improve our work and what we can do to improve how work repays us. So, a lot of reflection going on there. Hello there, Faye Fit. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you, honey. Now, as far as inner work, what we have coming up, it looks to me like, fellow Scorpios, we have somebody in our lives that does not appreciate themselves or does not have very good self esteem. And we are learning because we're empathic. We want to automatically shore that person up and help them to see how wonderful they are. We are learning actually where a healthy boundary is in that, because nobody can make anybody happy but ourselves, including this other person with low self esteem. And so we are offering what we can as far as encouragement and kind words and things like that. But we are also coming to a point where we're recognizing how much we can actually help and how much we're limited in the help that we can offer. How much has to be their part of feeling better about themselves. So, Ms. Faye, I'm glad you're here today, my dear. At the end of these weekly readings, if you do have a question, you can type that in while I'm still going through the spread. And once I'm going through the spread for the Scorpios, then what I'll do is I'll check on questions. And if there's a question there, I'll be happy to answer one question at the end of this reading. I'll ask Spirit to guide me as to which question to answer if there is more than one. If you have a question, not everybody does. Okay, so let's see here. The next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about that part of us that's being grown or expanded, Scorpios. We have a really interesting card here. We basically have the Tower card, which tells me that we are going to be dealing with some things that really shake us up. And so if we're dealing with things that really shake us up, the fact that it comes up in the place that we're being grown or expanded tells me that we are learning how to cope with whatever this situation is in a way that moves beyond it more quickly. So for me, when I see the Tower card, I know that that's just the beginning of the story, that we have some kind of shakeup where our sense of security is sort of threatened. But I also know that as we move forward and we look for things to replace whatever brought us that sense of security before, what we're finding is better than the old thing. So it's the beginning of the story where we end up better off than what we started, although it can kind of take your breath away and shake you up a little bit. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that we are getting really good at getting to the other side of this story, getting to the side where we are recovered and coming out on top and finding those things that are better opportunities much more quickly than we have before. So that's where we're being grown or expanded during this week. The next thing that comes up is something that talks about what we stand for. Okay. And so what I'm seeing here is that um, we are going to have a chance to rejuvenate and to put down work, set aside work for a little while, whether work is that work that we're being paid for, or whether it's working on the house or whatever it is. We're going to be setting that aside and we're going to be taking some time to rejuvenate ourselves. And somebody is going to be saying to us, hey, how come you're doing that? Da, 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 da. Don't you have, I didn't think you had enough money coming in. I didn't think this. I didn't think that, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to have to say, you know what? Sometimes rejuvenation is what helps you go on and do better work once you're done rejuvenating. So we're going to have to stand up for that. And then the next thing that we have coming up talks to me about how other people perceive us, Scorpios. And other people perceive us during this week as someone who does not play well with others. We're not doing what they want us to do. Okay. We are doing what we feel comfortable doing, and they want to control what we're doing. So they're seeing us as not playing well with others. 11:37 p.m. now. Oh, it's in the early night. Late night, I mean, midnight for you. Yeah, well, I don't have a routine. As soon as I get a routine, it becomes a chore. So I could be on here at any time. Let's see. Lesson or experience as we go through the week, Scorpios. This is one of my favorite cards, the High Priestess. This is doing what I do, doing what I do, doing readings, doing Reiki. So this is really just us being ourselves. This is our lesson or experience. We're for listening to that intuition, whether we're professional readers or not. Water signs generally are very much intuitive, empathic. We're able to pick up on things. And so the lesson or experience here has to do with picking up on that information that's floating around in the energy and figuring out how to use it to our advantage, not to the disadvantage of somebody else, but certainly, to make the best decisions that we can make for ourselves. Okay. And then as we are excelling in that, doing that more and more, we have some things coming up. Okay. One of the things that's coming up is information is coming to us from our subconscious. Things are coming up that need to be healed. Things are coming up that need to be reaffirmed. And so I feel like we're paying a lot of attention to that. A lot of times, those messages that we get from spirit, a lot of times they come through that subconscious. So the more clear and stable we can have that subconscious be, the better. So our subconscious is bringing up issues for us to work with. And we are doing that. I feel like we're doing that really well. The other thing that we have coming up is we are dealing with somebody who feels like they're a broken person. All right. And I think, didn't we have something about this earlier? Yeah, on our inner work. And I think we're seeing the same person again here later on in the week. This person that didn't have that much self esteem. So now we're looking at, here is this person. They feel kind of like a broken person. And we are interacting with this person. We're using our intuition to interact with this person in the best way possible, the best way for them, but also the best way for ourselves too, so that we can have a healthy relationship with this person without pushing, without trying to push and allowing them to do their own growth and their own expansion. Ultimately, towards the end of the week, I do see a partnership coming in with someone. It may even be with this person who feels broken, that we're making some kind of agreement or partnership with them to work on something together or to go forward in some way together. This does not have to be, a long-standing agreement. This could be something that is just, it could be as simple as, let's make dinner together or let's go on a weekend trip together. But it could also be, for some of us, I feel like this may be something that is going to be a more long-standing type of agreement for, um, what's the word I want to use? Collaborating together. Okay. So that's our week, Scorpios. I hope that makes sense to all of you. I can see how it's going to make sense to me. I hope it fits you guys as well. Okay, so we have one question here. Okay. Boyfriend is going through financial issues. I've been supporting him for more than a year. I would like to ask if he's going to be a little stable financially this year or next year. Okay. Wow. That's a heavy load, Miss Faye. Will Miss Faye's boyfriend come into financials, become financially secure and financially stable by the end of 2019? He will, actually. And I think that he's going to start making progress towards that soon if he hasn't already. I do see a lot of communication going out on his part. So this may be him putting out resumes, things like that. I think that he's going to come into a place that is more stable and secure. You're probably looking at 4 to 6 months from now. I'm not sure he's going to be so happy with whatever that situation is, whether it's a new job or whatever. I'm not sure he's going to be so happy with it right away, but I think you're going to encourage him to stick with it. You're going to be like, look, it's good that you're bringing in the dough, okay? And I do see that eventually it will turn into something long term. So he may be starting out as like a temporary, have to work there temporary for 90 days, and maybe that's what he's not so happy about. But it does turn into something long term and good. So, yes, you don't have that much longer to go, relatively speaking, as far as until he gets his own stability financially. So there you go, my dear. Thank you so much for keeping me company, for keeping me on my toes. Everybody who would like to get a private reading with me, just check out my website for contact information. I usually can schedule those pretty quickly. I don't believe in making people wait for readings if I can help it at all. My website is www.amista.info. If you want to schedule something with me, the best way to get a hold of me is to give me a text or give me a call. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy your week. You're quite welcome, Faye. Peace out, honey.